Hey, everybody. Thanks for showing up this week. Had some technical difficulties that made me a little bit late and possibly a little bit green, depending on how you're viewing me, but that's just going to have to be good enough for this week. This week, we are going to interview Lloyd Kaufman, founder of Troma Pictures. He should be popping in any second, and I also have other guests that are going to be popping in. And let's go and play around with some stuff here. Had an internet outage, so everything is popping back up. So forgive me if I'm a little bit out of sorts. All right, overlay. Background. That is not what I wanted to do. Overlay. Overlay. Go on to live. There we go. And let's make sure that we're. Yep, good. All right. So StreamYard is acting up a little bit because I had to reset everything. So let's go ahead and get that off of here. All right, so why isn't my background showing? All right, background showing. All right, there we go. All right, so some of the things we're going to be talking about this week is I'm going to give a little bit more in-depth review of the Batman. Now that it's been out, it gets released today. Ring of Honor being purchased by AEW is huge for us wrestling geeks, and it is a huge difference from what happened with WCW and WWF back in 2001. Also, once Brian Master of None gets here, we're going to be talking Star Trek. Both Picard and Discovery both hit this week. Picard season 2, episode 1, and Discovery episode 4 or season 4, episode 11. And probably going to do some Q&A. So let's go ahead and hide that for a second and play around with evac stuff. So share screen and all right, so I'm going to start with this. I thought it was. Okay. I'm going to add RJ to the stream. Hey, how you doing, RJ?
Hey, what's up, William? Doing good.
Yeah, I got kicked off right before the show started, so I'm all messed up. Everything. I had everything all set up, and then that kind of happened. So, but we're good now. I was going to jump into the very first thing, the Ring of Honor, while we're waiting for Lloyd to pop in. Hopefully he pops in, and there's no difficulties on his end. Ring of Honor being purchased for $40 million, reportedly by AEW. This news came out about 48 hours ago, just before their Wednesday night show, Dynamite hit the air. What are your initial thoughts on this?
It's a pretty big deal. It's hard to even surmount how big of a deal. I mean, it's a major shift in the landscape of professional wrestling. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, it's hard to surmount like what exactly the ramifications are going to be because we're so early into it. You know, there's still a lot of unknown factors in regards to like what this means for the future and how we're going to proceed past this point. But to me, at least, it's a sign, hey, we got some really exciting things down the horizon. You know, I'm not sure if it's going to be more like a developmental thing for AEW, if it's going to be like some cross-promotional thing, or they're going to treat it like very differently, or what it's going to be. But there's some cool stuff on the way for it, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm hearing, instantly the comparisons that people were saying, well, when Tony Khan does it, it's great, but when Vince McMahon did it, everybody hated WWE when that happened. And there are some key differences. There is no comparison to what is happening now, what happened then. First of all, like I said, in my opinion, I thought that deal was a bit shady. I thought the fact that there were better suitors, people who would have actually continued WCW that had more money on the table, and the WB exec at the time, I think his name was Jamie Kellner, pulled the TV contract off the deal and devalued the company. I thought that really hurt. I thought the one in 2001 was done poorly because if you remember, you probably weren't even live. If you remember, Sting and Goldberg weren't even part of the contracts. They had been signed directly to Warner, to Time Warner at the time. So when you move, the two of the biggest stars you had weren't even coming over, and then they did that lousy invasion angle. And at the time, there were 6 million people watching, roughly around 6 million people watching Raw on a Monday night, and maybe about 2 million roughly watching WCW. So you had 8 million. And now if you look at the ratings today, it's nowhere near that. And I understand that times have changed, digital, everything else has changed, but that kind of drop is significant, and that really doesn't have a lot to do with the change in technology and everything else. Another thing that I found the difference is in 2001, you only had 2 ways if you were a professional wrestler making a decent amount of money to draw revenue. It was either one of those 2 companies. And when one of those companies disappeared, you really didn't have anywhere to go. And a lot of the stuff that happened, concussions and overworked and a lot of the dark era that happened. I mean, the Chris Benoit stuff and things like that. A lot of these guys weren't being taken care of. If they got a concussion, they just kept going. They worked 260 days a week and whatever, there was nowhere to go. I mean, you could probably go to a smaller federation, but if you had been making a decent salary, you're taking a huge pay cut and now you had families. So that was more of a monopoly than anything. But what's happening now is you don't just have WWE and AEW, or you have AEWs out there. You have New Japan out there that's paying decent money. You have Impact, regardless of what people might think about Impact being a little train who couldn't or small, they still have enough money to provide a top tier person with a decent living if they want to. I mean, Chris Jericho once said that it wasn't the money that Impact was offering that made him choose AEW. He just had more roots with the people that he had been working with there. And if you look at the Good Brothers are not low paid individuals. So today's atmosphere.
No. I mean, it's also about what works best for their own schedules and what works out best for their own personal lives too. They kind of like work that in their own contracts too. I mean, it's kind of the thing where it's like some of them don't even really have like true contracts, more like work for hire. Like, okay, we'll sign you for this amount of time. You can basically do whatever you want in a lot of time. You can go anywhere and do anything.
Yeah, like the Good Brothers could go wrestle in New Japan, wrestle in AEW, and then they can turn around and wrestle on Impact. They're not as they don't have to remake themselves after every time they get on, and that's
it's not strict. They kind of get it's more like free range to do what they need to do.
Yeah, and I think that adds to the overall health of the wrestlers. I mean, if you're not on the road all that time, and if you have an injury and you have things that you want to get taken care of, you're not doing the painkiller thing that they were doing in the late 80s and all throughout the 90s. A lot of the guys who have passed away, it's because of the damage done to their body trying to keep themselves on the road. Some of these guys didn't make 70. I mean, both British Bulldogs gone. Roddy Piper. I mean, all these guys that just put their bodies through hell trying to maintain a certain status. You don't have to do that today. You have options. You have, you can take some time off, or you can wrestle in a place that doesn't have a lot of road dates. So the difference between what AEW and Ring of Honor are doing, plus Ring of Honor was pretty much done at that point. They had released everybody from the contracts, and some of those people had gone to sign in other places. Now, I don't know, Jonathan Gresham, I mean, people like that, and Jay Lethal signing with AEW, I don't know whether it was because this was in the works and they realized that they're signing with basically a company that they can go back and forth no matter what. So,
and that's the other thing too. It's like we really don't know like the intention as to what they want to do with it either. I mean, that's the other big part of it too. It's like, what exactly is it going to be? Is it more like a developmental thing where it's like, eventually kind of like how NXT is like a separate brand, but all roads lead down to AEW eventually? Is it still going to be truly independent, like with some crossover, right?
It's going to be interesting.
Crossover.
I would hope that they kept it separate, but one of the things that really hurt Ring of Honor when Sinclair purchased them was, even though Sinclair was a broadcasting network, man, getting a good TV spot. Why couldn't they? In Vegas, I'm watching. It's on a couple different channels, but it's on midnight Sunday night going into Monday night. And then there's a couple of other channels that it was on. I think it was on Bally Sports on a Saturday night or a Friday night. And it was just really hard to keep up. I'm hoping that under AEW that they get, TV exposure or get a decent slot somewhere, to where, they only got an hour a week. They had the one show, and it's really hard to showcase things like that. So I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like
I think it's good for wrestling when there's more.
Mm.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, that's just kind of thing. You hope that it ends up benefiting the talent more so than not. Typically, when there's like a merger, companies get bought out. Typically, like you said, WCW and ECW, they kind of just got like dragged in the mud and just thrown into the bus. They like completely collapsed. So I don't think this will be that kind of a situation.
Okay, Brian just messaged me. He's some good things are happening with him, so he'll be in later on. And I'm still waiting for our guest to pop in, so we're gonna hop around and then we'll revisit some of these titles. Batman, the Batman looks like it is. It has done 26 million in its initial opening, which puts it in good territory as far as. I did not think it was going to do No Way Home numbers because of the circumstances there. There's a lot.
I don't think anybody expected it to.
Yeah,
Didn't to.
But that number is good. That number is consistent with what I thought, given the things that it had going against it. The 3-hour runtime, there's some tonal issues, but to be able to do that well, I thought was wonderful. So, hey, our guest is he's here. I've met this guy on several occasions. I've had him out at the center a couple of times. I regretfully, because of COVID, we haven't had a chance to have him out in the last couple of years. He is the founder of Troma Pictures, Uncle Lloyd Kaufman.
Hey, William, congratulations.
How you doing, Lloyd?
Congratulations to you, William, on all you have done to preserve culture of sci-fi and bizarre movies. And that's you're terrific. You should get a MacArthur grant, in my opinion.
Well, will it be more valuable to me than this, though, Lloyd? My Troma diploma. I mean, this hangs right next to a picture of Stan Lee. I have it down now so that I can display it. But there's a picture of me and Stan Lee, and then the Troma diploma is to the immediate left. I remember the night you gave this to me. It was like one. I still have the video. It's one of the coolest things.
Well, you are one of the coolest people I know. You're terrific. And
how have you been?
We had a good time. Okay, staggering along. But
oh yeah, I understand.
Toxie's over here. He's looking a little peaked, and we're
got a plague mask on there. It looks like.
Huh?
Looks like he's got a plague mask on, which is appropriate too. So
that's the way we do it.
Yeah, man. When we had you out here the couple of times that we had you, it was we had a lot of fun. With the autographs and everything else. Like I said, I can't wait till this subsides and AVN starts doing their live stuff again, so we can have you out here, play some movies. Now go ahead.
Good news. Our friend Christy Larson, who's one of the original Troma Dance participants, she lives here. She lives in Las Vegas. And you know Christy, right?
Yeah, she reached out to me today about some upcoming stuff, but I'll let you go ahead since you are the man about it.
She's going to try to get a drive-in for a couple of nights, and the is it the Eclipse? What do they call those?
It's like the art theater now. It's changed hands. I think it's called the art theater.
Well, that's what we do. We do art, and so she's going to try to put a couple of theaters together. Then I'll come out there, and we'll do a big sci-fi center Troma event.
Cool, I'm ready for it, man. I've been ready the last couple of years, but circumstances have haven't permitted us to have our usual Vegas fun. But the last time we were at that theater, we were you were showing it was the Return to Nukem High, correct?
It was either the Return to Nukem High or the Return to Nukem High.
Yeah, it was a Return to.
Yeah, it was the second
return. The Nukem High. That was a lot of fun, and that's when we were at that theater. We're in a strange place. We got guys that have worked with you that are hitting the big time. You got James Gunn 25-year anniversary of what was it, Romeo and Juliet?
Wasn't that nice to give us a little push?
Yeah,
Jeff,
I mean,
he's a cool dude. Very cool. Very talented. Incredibly
very talented. How do you, from when you started this, and with the digital media, when everything we got going on in regards to how movies are seen and how movie absorbed, what are some of the advantages and challenges that that you can speak on?
One nice thing, and anybody who has seen #Shakespeare Shitstorm will understand, there is a luxury to having total freedom and not worrying about the box office. That's kind of a luxury. That's kind of cool. But on the other hand, you don't want to live under the highway overpass. So you got to kind of balance everything. And movie making is unfortunately treated as a business before it's treated as an art. But there are people like William and I and other people who are true artists who put the art before the dollar. That's after 50 years of making Troma movies. By the way, the Toxic Avenger. I don't know if you know this, William.
Yes.
What happened? Oh,
no, I'm still here. I'm just putting up.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to give
you
you
know
some chance.
That the Toxic Avenger is being reimagined into a new, exciting, $1 billion movie.
How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about it?
I mean, that's your baby.
Yeah, hey, I read the script. It's better than the original, and the director, Macon Blair, is a young, gutsy guy he knows every frame of Troma's 50 years, from blood-sucking freaks to #Shakespeare Shitstorm. So he's keeping it very Troma real.
So so it's good to have a fan making it. I think that was my major concern is if you're going to handle Troma at some point in time, you either need to have your hands in Troma or you needed to be a fan of Troma. So this
you need to get it, and you need to have some courage. And I think the casting. I don't know if you know this, William. Have you heard about who has played the Toxic Avenger? But the movie's been shot. Do you know who's playing Toxie?
I don't know.
I can answer that. It's none other than Peter Dinklage. Am I correct?
You are absolutely
Tyrion?
Isn't that cool? I think that's great. I think Uncle Lloyd wouldn't have remembered to, I wouldn't have thought of that. That's great.
I'm off my game. I didn't know that. I mean, and Tyrion Lannister that's what he's going to be for me for the rest of his life. Sorry, Tyrion. He's going to be Tyrion Lannister. He's going to be the hand of the king. He's going to be the smartest person on Game of Thrones ever.
Check him out in Cyrano. My wife is on the board of the Hampton Film Festival.
Oh, okay, cool. That's got nominated for Academy Awards. So.
Oh, good. Well, it's very good. He's very good. He sings. It's quite bittersweet and it's excellent. I hope it does well. It deserves to do well. And I think his wife wrote the play upon which the movie is based, I believe.
Now, I got Shakespeare's Shitstorm on here. Go ahead and tell our audience.
Excuse me. #Shakespeare Shitstorm. Very important because the theme, one of the two major themes of #Shakespeare Shitstorm is the nastiness and the prejudice and the hate on in the world of social, whatever you call it, social
media. We feel that, trust me, don't we, RJ?
That's one of the themes. And then the other theme is down on satire, kind of a satire of big pharma. And I no doubt you know about Purdue and the opioids and how hundreds of thousands of people have died from opioid overdoses. So anyway, #Shakespeare Shitstorm has those two themes, and it is my I would say my interpretation of Shakespeare's The Tempest.
Okay. So,
And,
more art on top of art. How is it going? I mean, tell me about a little bit about the making of it, the journey to get it to where it is right now, to where we're about to take a look at it.
Well, we're finished with it, and it's been played in one big film festival, and then every other film festival rejected it. In large part, we are told by the big film festival that did play it that apparently the mainstream media does not want to go near a movie with the word shitstorm.
Sounds like a Sci-Fi Center exclusive when it gets to Vegas.
Right. It's like, hey, their loss is your gain, William. So.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, I showed Human Centipede here. All right, I showed Human Centipedes 1, 2, and 3 here. I have no shame when it comes to, some of these people don't realize that the dynamics of filmmaking, they look down on Troma, and it kind of pisses me off, but it's still film. It's filmmaking. It is filmmaking. You still have to go through the mechanics of gathering funds, getting the talent, getting the right people. Everything you do in a Troma movie, you have to do in any of these big budget or any of these mainstream movies. So when they look down on Troma, I actually take offense. Like when they'll look at my Troma t-shirts and stuff like here, and like, you watch that stuff? I'm like, yeah, you're damn right I watch that stuff. And I'll have it on my screen whenever I can. I love Troma stuff.
Thank you. By the way, this is
member.
50 years of Troma. How many other independent movie studios lasted for 50 years?
The answer is 0. I mean, American Entertainment. I mean, it's Blackula. A lot of the people that put out some of the same movies that I really like. None of those all started around the same time, and none of them are around. So yeah, 50 years.
American International Pictures was 10 times bigger than Troma, and they got acquired. But that's where Roger Corman came from. And I was buddies with Sam Arkoff, one of the bosses of American International Pictures. And you're right, every great star started there, from Annette Funicello to, I think, De Niro with the...
Pam Grier got a good foothold there, made a couple movies. Sugar Hill, one of the best zombie movies ever made.
Hey, by the way, how did you like Eddie Murphy doing? God damn it!
Vampire in Brooklyn?
No, the thing recently where he kind of Dolomite.
Oh, Dolomite is my name.
Oh, I thought it was excellent.
It was terrific. It was.
He did a great.
Dolomite is my name. Yeah,
that should have been nominated. That was so original, and he was so good, and it's exactly like Troma makes movies.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people didn't grasp. I did see that, and like I said, I thought that may have been Eddie Murphy's single best performance for me, to where he did that portrayal. So yeah, it didn't get its due, but that's Hollywood for you.
The nice thing,
go ahead, Lloyd.
Very, very entertaining, and it's great to put the two together. It's a lot of fun.
What are you watching today? I mean, what outside of Troma, what shows are entertaining you? That keep you entertained these days?
Pat, my beautiful wife, who you have met, William, a few times.
Mm-hmm.
She and I are having a great time with Inventing Anna. Poorly written, but a lot of fun. And I think they had to rush to get that series out because there's another Inventing Anna on HBO being premiering very soon. Had these guys, Shonda Rhimes or whatever her name is, if she would have taken 2 weeks more to kind of polish and fill in the holes, but yet it's still, we really love it. It's so much fun. So watching that.
Here's a question close home. What did you think about? I know what you're going to say, but what were your thoughts on Peacemaker?
Oh, that was great. I think that was a James Gunn to the nth degree. The line, I'm going to bring peace to this world if I have to kill everybody in it or something,
Yeah, Yeah.
So James Gunn. He's
Yeah, I mean that's the great thing about looking at James Gunn's filmography in when it comes to these bigger budget blockbusters is the way he's applied a lot of his sensibilities when he did some Troma films, just in terms of writing, applying it to these blockbusters. He hasn't changed in a lot of ways. He kind of kept some of that same energy.
Yeah, it was an interesting journey for me with Peacemaker. I ended up loving it. Especially from the 4th episode on. I say this when we do our other streams. The first couple episodes, the first 3 episodes, it was really hard for me to get into. Midway through episode 4, especially the last 15 minutes of episode 4, and having seen almost all of his stuff, the last 15 minutes of episode 4 might be some of the best James Gunn in anything he's done.
I would do. He gets better and better, and he's a great guy, the nicest. Hey, have you seen my performance in Suicide Squad?
Yeah. I was going to try to clip that and put it on here, but I didn't want to get any copyright hits. So I was thinking about putting that in here, but I'm like, nah. We don't want to get taken off the air. And they'll do it.
Your audience knows my thespian abilities, so you don't have to put the clip.
But hey, you know what? It's like the Stan Lee cameos, man. We all look for those. You should be in every movie going forward, man. Just a little bit.
Yeah. John Cena is quite a guy. I had some time with him. I had heard he's teaching himself Chinese, so I tapped him on the shoulder and gave him a little Yale crappy Chinese, and we had a little conversation, and he was much more fluent than I. And also, he's teaching himself the piano. He has a piano in his dressing room. So
there's a scene in Peacemaker where that was him.
Yeah, he actually played the piano in that sequence. He actually taught himself to play piano. So he's very dedicated to his craft for sure.
He's getting better. Each time you see him, he's getting better. So I got to give somebody. I mean, he's a wrestler, and he spent the majority of his life as a pro wrestler, and he didn't get into acting literally until his late 30s, and now he's in his mid 40s. So guys like him, guys like Dave Bautista, who have pretty much made their careers as wrestlers, moving over into this acting thing, they're behind the curve, but they make up a lot of ground. So I was very impressed by John Cena as well. So
those wrestlers, they are very smart. I know nothing about wrestling, but Dolph Ziggler and Jericho and 2 or 3 others, big time wrestlers, are Troma fans, and they are clever. Or they're fun to talk to. They're smart, and they well read, and they're I can see how they can move to becoming superstars like the Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Is he a wrestler?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of the interesting thing when it comes to that. It's that it's interesting to see how professional wrestlers are kind of moved into the entertainment business. Now they kind of get started in these smaller independent films, then kind of blossom into these blockbuster roles. But it's interesting how they apply their sensibilities to one craft and then apply it to another. Because it is about being an entertainer at the end of the day. I mean, it's kind of like the role they kind of fit in, but they do tend to be very intellectual and smart because they're very savvy businessmen. I noticed too. They very much know how to present themselves because they have to market themselves as individuals.
Well, they want to move up, which is interesting because I remember when we were making Citizen Toxie. In fact, James Gunn gave me the idea. He said, "Why don't you go after Jenna Jameson?" At the time, a major porno star, right? Huge porno star, and great idea. So we sent her the script and got an answer back. Wasn't up to her standards or something because there was only we could only pay $5,000 for the part. But why not do it and move up the, maybe someone will see you in the context other than, imagine if she would have done the Citizen Toxie.
I mean, that's the important thing is getting, especially when I feel like that's what kind of has made Troma so special, interesting is that it doesn't matter who you are, you get your foot in the door, you get started. I mean, the possibilities of where your career can go, it's
Well, the
incredible.
porno people make a lot of money, the porno stars. But what do you want to do that? You want to be, is that it? Why don't you get into something that has a beginning, middle, and end, not just a loop?
I mean,
So,
look at what Tracy Lords did. Tracy Lords was one of the ones that evolved and started doing different movies. To me, movie making is movie making. Adult movies, you still got to get behind the camera. You still have to edit. You still have to hire people. You still have to budget for stuff. And that's why, like I said, I mean, if you get into the field, you never know where it can go. And I always like to say, because I watch a lot of B movies. I mean, obviously, I watch a lot of the movies I watch are patterned after Troma films. I'll watch a B movie. I'll watch Gallows. I watch anything. I will watch 70s stuff. I will watch foreign stuff, Spanish stuff, Japanese stuff. I think at one time I ran out of foreign horror movies to show. And even it didn't really matter to me what kind of quality it was, because like Ed Wood. Ed Wood to me is kind of a hero. Yeah, his movies were what they were, but so many people were influenced by Ed Wood, and I'm glad Ed Wood, for as bad as his movies were, not of his fault, is he didn't have a lot of the money that a lot of the people had in the 50s. He did, but I would rather him do what he did than not do it at all. Because if you look at a lot of stuff that is done now, they don't know it, but they're being influenced by guys like Corman, Ed Wood, and some of the guys who really had literally $1,000 to make a movie, And now you see some of these guys that don't really have a big name, and they get millions to make movies. And then you see Troma after 50 years, we're in 2022, still talking about Troma, still putting out new movies with Troma. So I've always felt it like a badge of honor to be even remotely this much associated with Troma, because it's filmmaking.
Well,
it's brass knuckles.
What you say is better than getting an Oscar, William. You can buy an Oscar. The god of the mainstream, Harvey Weinstein, was a genius at buying Oscars. But what you just said, you can't buy that. That's love, right? You can't buy me love. Tell me that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. It's like what I feel like is kind of like instilled Troma as such a legacy thing for like the longest time. It's that despite the fact that people may look down on those films for like being grimy or full of sex and violence and gore and stuff, it's like there's art and passion put into it. I mean, look at like the practical effects and the art, like actual artists are making this stuff.
People look down on us.
Yeah, it's art, dude. Shakespeare in any form is Shakespeare.
Yeah,
Shakespeare influences, and if you're using the basis of your story and it's Shakespeare, Shakespeare. I
agree. I'm with you 100%. I spent 5 years making this movie. And by the way, you mentioned Ed Wood. His son is in the $1 billion reimagining of the Toxic Avenger. Elijah Wood is one of the stars, along with Kevin Bacon and a lot of other people I can't remember. And it's going to be you're going to like that one.
Yeah, full circle. I mean, when I watched Ed Wood's movie, the Ed Wood movie that came out where Martin Landau got an Oscar about it,
yes,
it was kind of cool because you couldn't really laugh at Ed Wood anymore. You couldn't really, once you see that story, and that's where Johnny Depp became one of my favorite actors, you couldn't laugh at, and Bela Lugosi's story. Not a lot of people know that part about Bela Lugosi's his last years.
Yeah.
And some of the things that he did as far as after they know Dracula, and that's it. Some of these big
guys.
No,
I mean, Ed Wood by Tim Burton, I think is such a brilliant film. I think it's honestly one of the best historical biopics ever made. Just it's hilarious, it's heartwarming, it's sincere. I mean, it really I thought it really captured the man really well, personally.
Yeah. And Landau, I can't say this a lot when it comes to the Academy Awards. He earned that Academy Award. I mean, I thought Johnny Depp should have had higher consideration, but I think he got nominated that year. But I love that movie because, and like I said, one day they're going to make a movie about you, Lloyd. You're going to get James DeFranco or somebody to play you or something like that. The young Lloyd.
Yeah. That is a good question. Who could play a young Lloyd Kaufman in the biopic eventually? Who's going to tell the story of Troma Entertainment one day?
I don't know. But the minute I get hit by a bus or throw off these mortal coils, then suddenly people are going to say, "Oh, Lloyd Kaufman, yeah, he was such a good guy, and he was an unappreciated genius." As opposed, right now, I keep getting looked down upon, and you guys keep reminding people that people look down on Troma.
Which is, I hope that changes.
I'm saying that.
Yeah, I hope that now that, I mean, like I said, with James Gunn, and I love the fact that he honors and brings up Troma every time he gets a chance. I hope that general audience make the connection between the filmmakers that are doing stuff today and the influence of that. I mean, and maybe they'll dive back into it. Maybe they'll give it a shot, even if it's a 30-year-old movie. If you want to do Nukem High, it's around. Go watch it. It's not going away. And then,
Good point. They're classics. They really have paved the way for a lot of mainstream film, like the Deadpool. Those guys are Troma all the way, right? It's just they have a good acting and a good script and a shitload of money, a shitstorm of money.
Let me go ahead and answer some questions in the chat. All right, so here we go. Hope this doesn't go south. Okay, it's for Monkey Jeebus. Hi, Uncle Lloyd. Nice seeing you again. I saw you yesterday on Hacked the movies. Hacky Peluso. So I hope I didn't mispronounce that. And then we got some people asking me who my favorite. I have several. I mean, when it comes to science fiction, right now, science fiction horror. Obviously, I have one of them on my screen right now. I mean, Lloyd Kaufman is, and I'm not saying that just because he's here. I grew up literally watching Troma films. So one of them is Lloyd Kaufman. Denis Villeneuve right now has made 2 movies that have just blown me away.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have Blade Runner 2049, which is my favorite all-time movie, and then I have Dune, which is right there. I thought one of the best movies of the year. So that guy, and then like I said, you have Ridley Scott, who, like I said, along with Troma stuff, I grew up on Ridley Scott. I grew up on Alien. I grew up on just about, obviously Blade Runner, anything with some Thelma and Louise, I will watch if it's Ridley Scott. Gladiator, things like that. One of the best filmmakers to never win an Oscar.
Excuse me, did Ridley Scott direct The Last Duel?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That was a good film. I thought that was very good. And Colbert kept making fun of it about, playing in empty theaters and stuff. But it's quite good. It's a kind of a Rashomon thing. And
it's unfortunate because it wasn't promoted well, in my opinion, and it wasn't really explained well. I saw it. It was a well-made movie, and Matt Damon's good in it. Ben Affleck is good in it.
It deserved a lot more love, sadly.
But
I think it's just a bad release timing and just a bad marketing campaign, which is sad. But
yeah, and thank God we have streaming, so people can come back and take a look at these movies. And
yes, very important.
So yeah, Boyd, where can they find your movies at? For anybody who wants to just dive into Troma for the first time,
well, here
I'll put that in the chat.
Troma Now. We have a streaming service. Troma Now. We have about 1,000 movies there, about 100 that we have made, and the rest we've acquired over the years. And wonderful. First month is free, and then only $4.99 a month, and it's growing very nicely. You go to there's an app, Troma Now app. It's free, and then you can see Troma Now on Roku and Google and whatever, 4 or 5 different ways to see it. So get the Troma Now app and enjoy a streaming service that has real art that comes from the heart and the soul and the brain, as opposed to so much of what's on the competition.
I just put the link in our chat right now, and then I'll have it on all my social media, and I'll be spreading it anywhere. I'll be.
Could you imagine like 30 years ago? It's like, hey guys, there's going to be a device called a cell phone that you could watch all my movies on. Like it's going to be a Troma app. But that's the great thing though about streaming though. It's like it's opened up to where there's a bit more experimentation about what you can make now. You don't have to worry, as you said, Lloyd, earlier, about the box office. You can kind of just more freedom of expression in terms of what you can make, and it kind of like gets your all films out to a much wider demographic of people who may not be able to like see it during like a film circuit festival or something.
Good point.
Yeah, they don't have to. A lot of these films, people will go see movies and talk about movies by association. It's like a sports team. And they'll, I'm not going to watch a Troma movie, but guess what? When they're in an empty room or whatever, they're watching. And now it's streaming. You don't have to be affiliated. You just watch it. If you enjoy it, you can watch it. I love the streaming reality. I know the movie theaters and the box offices don't like it, but I like it because it gives me a chance to give things a chance. And I think with Troma, apps like this is going to help. So, all right, Lloyd, I've taken up a lot of your time today. Hey, thank you for coming on, and just thank you for even creating Troma, for continuing Troma, and continuing it even with these uphill battles and with everybody not appreciating the art that it is. I'll be out here preaching it. I mean, hopefully we'll have you here, right here, doing a stream in the near future, promoting it. And like I said, when it comes to hashtag Shakespeare's shitstorm, if somebody else doesn't want it, I want it. So,
let's see. You'll get it. Don't worry. Tromaville loves sci-fi and Williams. So,
hey, and the Sci-Fi Center loves Tromaville. Like I said, if I were a tattoo guy, I would have Toxie right here. But me and needles, so it's not going to happen. But hey, thank you for coming on. Thank you for honoring us with your presence, and keep it up, man.
You too, Bill. You too.
Right.
Best
Thanks,
wishes.
Lloyd.
Thank you very much.
Hey, tell your wife I said hi. And
I shall. Pat sends love. Pat said. The commissioner's pleased.
Okay. I hope she's pleased with us. All right. Thanks a lot, Lloyd.
Bye.
All right. That was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was cool. And
I'll be honest, in my young YouTube career, never did I think to myself, I'm going to talk to Lloyd Kaufman, the creator and proprietor of Troma Entertainment. It's.
I never thought I'd meet him and have him in my store.
Yeah, I mean, you seem to have had a lot more experience with him. I mean, once you first meet Lloyd, I know you couldn't really get into it because of time constraints, but you seem to have known him a lot longer than many of us probably have. About
5 years ago, because there's a big Troma following out here in Vegas. There's one of the
there is there's a big love for movies like Toxic Avenger in Vegas for sure.
And there's a Troma team out here led by Christy Larson. She's probably listening right now. That's what he was referring to. We're going to be doing some stuff out here, and hopefully we get him out here in person. But yeah, there's a big Troma following out here. There was a lot of places that when we would come out here, and it would be hard to get the kind of movies that he would own on. And we were an underground venue. I mean, I'm literally like a basement with a movie screen, and I'll show it all. Like I said, Human Centipede 1, 2, and 3. We showed it.
How are you allowed to show Human Centipede at the Sci-Fi Center?
I got licensed by IFC. And,
no, I just meant in terms of content, like those movies are like really.
Whenever we show it, we have to follow guidelines. I mean, you could only be of a certain age to get in here. So you couldn't be like 8 and get in here. We weren't letting you in. I don't care whether you're a parent or not. So yeah, but dude, we packed the house for that thing, and that was about 10 years ago. And then we were on when you show weird stuff, you get on people's radar about, hey, well, maybe this guy will show this, and it's true, we will, we will. And it was we had a lot of fun when he came out, and then we finally got to meet him. He would come out here before, and we would just miss him, and then finally, Christy and a couple other people hooked us up, and then. We would come in. He would come in. We show his movies on our screen, and he would sign autographs. I mean, T-shirts. We would. I'll show her some pictures with his man. He has a whole spread of stuff, man. And
that's awesome.
The only thing cooler than Troma pictures is Troma merchandise. You got to see the spread this cat brings. It's cool, kick-ass stuff. I had a Bullet Club T-shirt, but it was Toxie.
Oh, really?
It was a Bullet Club logo.
Is there really a Toxie Bullet Club T-shirt?
Yes, I had it hanging up here. It was kick-ass, and as a wrestling geek, those two worlds just colliding were excellent. But I can't say enough about Lloyd Kaufman, and to be doing this, well into the 70s, to be fighting the fight. I mean, he's fighting the Troma fight like he did in 1970. He's still trying to get his movies on the screen, still dealing with the same bullshit as far as people like, well, that's garbage. I'm like, dude, you watch the damn movie. You don't know art until you watch somebody take whatever they have available to them financially and resource-wise and make a movie. Making a movie is hard. Appreciate the fact that these people made that movie. Even if it's not your taste, don't call it trash. Don't call it garbage. You don't like it, that's cool. But appreciate the fact that these people ducked in the cushions to get the money. to get the sponsors, to get the stuff done and make this movie. Most people, filmmakers in their lifetime, will never get a chance to make their own movie. They are filmmakers in heart, but they will never get the money. They will never get the support. They will never get the studio. There's a lot of things that have to come together in order for even the worst movie you ever saw. Like Dude, Where's My Car is the worst movie of all time for me, right? But somebody made that movie. Somebody had to sit down in the meeting and get the cast. So you appreciate the process. So when people look down on Troma, I just wish they would appreciate that there's a process to making these little movies like this. And the fact that it's going on 50 years later is something cool. So that was cool. Like I said, whenever I get a chance to talk to him and whenever he makes time for us, my little shack, and I'm currently a YouTube nobody, in my third stream, for him to be, come on that show and put that stamp on it was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, it's an honor to talk to him in any capacity, Yeah, it's cool to hear from him, especially. I think that, he has just a lot of insight on the whole industry, especially too. I mean, he's been around and he's done so much. I mean, even if it is just Troma Films per se, I mean, it's the insight he has, I feel like, is unparalleled, Yeah,
I mean, he knows a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people know him. And a lot of these guys that you look at today either were influenced or they probably worked with him. A lot of these guys worked with him. Like I said, James Gunn is huge, and he worked with him. Let me answer one of these questions. William, what is your favorite? Well, what are your thoughts on Watchmen? All right, so I don't know. I'm gonna guess we're talking about the HBO Max series or we're talking about the comic. I'll give you both answers. I think Watchmen, the comic, is one of the most influential comic book series ever made. We're gonna do an As Seen on TV part of one of these streams that we're doing. It's one of the projects we're working on, and Watchmen and its influence is going to be one of them, along with Dark Knight and a couple other things. But Watchmen is very influential as far as that goes. It's a Cold War era story that resonates 30 some odd, almost 40 years later. And like I said, I think it's Alan Moore's best work. As far as the TV show Watchmen goes, people bring up Peacemaker as being the best thing HBO puts out. As much as I like and enjoy Peacemaker, Watchmen, it was the gold standard as far as storytelling for me, as far as DC TV goes, whether it be on HBO Max, HBO, or CW, anything else. Watchmen is the gold standard. I thought it was the elements that they added to it from the comic and juxtaposing it on what's going on today. I thought it was great. And Watchmen movie is my favorite Zack Snyder movie. And I know a lot of people, it's Justice League. I know BBS. Watchmen is my favorite Zack Snyder movie. And he did as much as he could with 2 hours and 45 minutes. But it is my favorite Zack Snyder movie. I can watch that movie over and over again. And if you're a kid of the 80s, like I was, you hear the music. He uses the music, the visuals. I felt like I was in the 80s, sans the, big blue guy and the nuclear war and millions of people in New York dying like that. So I hope I answered all three levels of the Watchmen question. Let's see. I just didn't want to miss. I know I've missed a lot of people because of we brought him in. Okay, cool. So, all right. So we were talking. I'm waiting for.
We're talking wrestling. We're talking about the Ring of Honor stuff. Yeah.
So the Ring of Honor thing, I think it's going to be a good move for them. I think it's going to get them more exposure. I think that a little bit more money helps to do it, but they always did it without a lot of money to begin with. The biggest thing now is if we keep to the independent promotion, you won't lose as many people to other federations because of the fact that you can kind of bid for them. They don't automatically have to go to WWE. For a better contract, they can actually stay in Ring of Honor, and maybe you'll keep some bigger names. Because in the mid 2015s, like in 2014-15, when AJ Styles was in New Japan and going back and forth with Ring of Honor was, I think, the height. And then right after AEW was founded, and then they kind of gutted a lot of what they were doing. So
yeah,
right,
just kind of a side topic, but just real quick, how are you feeling about WrestleMania? Do you care?
No.
I kind of figured.
There's one match I care about. One match, and that was one that was just introduced on Monday, and that's Edge and AJ Styles.
I thought you were going to say Roman and Brock.
No. Listen, I like Brock Lesnar. I don't like the way he's pretty much been overused. I like Roman Reigns, but once again, the booking has destroyed this angle. This angle was could have been one of the best things that they've done, but they've wrung the life out of it, and it's just not exciting. I'm not compelled anymore like I was at the beginning of it.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, they just announced Austin Theory is going to fight Pat McAfee. That's going to be a WrestleMania match. There you go.
And then Vince might wrestle. So I mean, it's
apparently Vince McMahon might get involved and wrestle in that match too. So I don't know what's going on.
That's not. I mean, yeah, he's still cut and chiseled, but he's not he's not who I pay to see. All right, and then Austin. What are we in 2003 again? I mean, we were literally.
The Stone Cold thing's just a rumor though. We don't know for sure that's going to happen yet.
But if it takes traction, he'll do it. I mean, he had his son wrestling the Undertaker.
But was
better match than it had any business being.
He left, man, on like the highest of high notes. Like, you don't. I'll let you. Well, no, I can't say that because Shawn Michaels left on a high note, but he came back. And it was like the worst match of his career. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's I'm not looking forward. WrestleMania used to be an annual event where we're like, I can't wait. I'm not doing anything on WrestleMania Day. I mean, NWA or WCW used to have what was called the Clash of the Champions. And for the first few years of it, they would air it on the same day at the same time as WrestleMania. And I would end up watching WrestleMania later because somebody would like tape it or whatever. And I would watch Clash of the Champions because it was free. It was on TBS. So that day, the first day, the last weekend of March or first weekend of April was like a national holiday. And now I look at it, it's like it's a slightly above average Raw now. But on the same token, I'm not paying $50 or $60 that I was years and years ago. I'm paying whatever $4.95 or whatever that the Peacock is doing. So I can't be too upset when I'm disappointed. It's just like there's just so much better wrestling out there than what they're putting out right now. You name a federation, that federation is putting out better stuff. And WWE has plenty of talent too. It's not they have some of the best talent that they've ever had. It's just that they put people in situations I'm just not interested in. And I don't know. I don't know how everybody else feels. I know people love WWE, and I watch it because I pick through stuff that I can watch. Like I said, the Damian Priestley match the other night with Finn Balor was a good match where he won.
The Damian Priest turned heel for like no reason though.
There you go. That match was great. And then he, without any buildup or without anything, that happens, and that's what they do. The talent brings it to the doorstep, and then the booking just takes you back into the front yard. So, all right. Well, and then we were moving into the Batman. Like I said, I can't.
The box office.
Yeah, I can't.
So I know it's been a little bit of some controversy. Some people are kind of crafting their own little narrative in their own little bubble, but I know they rolled in at least like 4 million off the Tuesday and Wednesday preview showings or something like that into the Thursday numbers. But regardless, it's still like 21.6 or something like that. So
for a movie, yeah. And then people are saying that the budget is more than the budget was, not taking into the fact that most of these ads aired on Turner, WB networks.
Not even that. Look at all the promotional stuff, the promotional campaigns, like Little Caesars getting like a background ad in the movie or all this other stuff too.
Yeah, they're paying for that. I had somebody mention me saying that had to cost Warner Bros. That had to cost the studio a bunch of money.
No, that costs Little Caesars money.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? That somebody paid to have their product associated with that, and those are billions. Those are millions. Like I said, listen, I'll say this over and over again, and I know there's a certain segment of our fandom out there that is looking for ways to knock the movie because they want to knock management that, in my opinion, is outgoing. All right, those people may not deserve your money. All right, those people may have conducted themselves in a manner that they don't deserve your money. But if you've stuck around and held on for this long with DC films, you deserve this film. All right? Forget about them. Don't let Hamada, don't let any of these guys live rent-free in your head and stop you from seeing what I consider an epic movie. I need to see it again. I just don't have the time to see it again. but it is an epic movie. If your reasons are you don't like the tone or things like that, I understand that. It is not for everybody. And like I said, there's a good percentage of fans that this is going to piss off and turn off.
How do you feel like the opening weekend's going to go, though, based on the Thursday number? I think they're saying around, like, do you think, okay, how about this? Is it going to open above 100 million?
Wow, that is tough.
It's really not, though, because it's already like a 20 million for Thursday, right? So
I want to say yes, but I don't know how many expanded screens, because some of it is how many times can – a lot of that is repeat viewing. Like a lot of times when these movies make a lot of money like that, it's repeat viewing.
I'm going to stay conservative and guess like 115 to 120 million.
I'm going to say 100 to 115 with the caveat that could get blown out of the water. I mean, nothing would surprise me about this. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. And there's people, like I said, that we paid to go see the movie because we did our giveaways. Some of the people didn't like it, but their reasons were reasons that I generally understood. They gave it a shot. They didn't
also, a big thing I've heard too is that people were saying, I want to go see this again so I can process some things better.
Yes.
So I feel like that is going to – here's the thing, right? This movie has about 1 month as the entire month of March to make as much money as it possibly can. Because once mid-April, it's going to basically be not dead per se, but like it's going to be like that's it really. It's like a 45-day window to make as much money as it can.
It's going to dive bomb after 45 days, possibly after 35.
Which that's what they want anyway, because they want everything to go to the streaming service anyway. So it's fine. I'm just saying that they got to make as much money as they can in 45 days.
If you get the chance, I gotta go to StreamYard College because this me being green is driving me crazy. But but no, see this on a really big screen. So when we tell you that the cinematography is what it is, it's great, and I think you need to see that. And that sound, man, the sound.
Yeah, I've already talked to apparently some people who are reviewing the movie pirated it, which I'm like, I mean, do what you want with your money and your time. I just think it's like, why brag about pirating a movie? I'll never understand that.
But and you're streaming, and if you okay, we'll leave that. But no, and the guys who are waiting to see this on HBO Max. Listen, the majority of people who see this movie, it's just facts that see this movie are going to see it on HBO Max. That's life with streaming right now. However, if you get the chance to see it in IMAX and you got the good
see it on the biggest screen you can. I mean, it's worth it. It's 100% worth it.
I am falling in love with the damn Batmobile. If you can nominate a damn car, that opening scene with the Batmobile and that song that they use, I won't spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but that song that they use, I can't believe that they found a way to make that song work with that scene. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, and some guys, this is not a replacement for Batman. This is a Batman story. All right. This is a Batman story. This is someone's telling of the Batman story, and have fun with it. All right. Don't worry about what may or may not happen, and on all these things. Just let go of these guys. Go see this movie. Matt Reeves made this movie for you. He paid a lot of attention to detail, and give it a watch. Like I said, the Snyder fans that I sent to the movie loved this movie. The heavy hitters that have thousands and thousands of followers that I watch that are Snyder fans love this movie. I haven't seen.
Well, it's made in the same kind of vein and mindset that the Snyder movies were made in. I mean, I'm not saying it's exact like 1-to-1, but it's the same philosophy. I feel like
this movie would not have been made back when Snyder was making his movies. They would not have gone this dark, and they would damn sure wouldn't have gone 3 hours without a fight. We would have gotten that. Could you imagine Matt Reeves' Batman in 2015? We'd have got
like the movie that they originally were going to make in like 2018.
Yeah. Can you imagine had they had not their frame of mind then, they would have butchered this movie out. It would have been 2 hours and 20 minutes or 2 hours solid. And we would have been like, well, why is that so chopped up and disjointed? And then we would have had to go out and buy the extended.
I'll be honest with you, this movie never would have got made.
Yeah.
Had it been the previous mindset.
Exactly.
It just wouldn't have been made. It just would have been kind of left on the cutting room floor and never would have got past the development stage.
So we all should be, like I said, I understand the animosity, but let that situation, oh, damn it. my coffee place, which I'm going to bring up, is out of soup, but I'm going to bring them up because they're a sponsor. Let the situation that people are angry about is going to handle itself. Don't bear the weight of Zaslav. You don't have to make those decisions. You don't have to worry about that. This movie is there. It's here. Go see it. So let me bring in my other nerd, my Trek nerd, who I can't even utter Star Trek without my Trek wingman, and that's Brian Master.
Enosh? Oh, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
hey guys.
Hey.
Hi, Ryan.
Can you hear me?
I heard somebody cussing in the background. What's going on?
Oh yeah, no, I'm still at work. We're getting the keys to our new place today, so
Okay,
I'm just waiting. It's too cold to walk home, and I should have did it like 2 hours ago. But anyways, long story short, I'm just waiting for my ride, so I can talk for about maybe a half hour or so, and then I'll go home.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight one today. Well, since we got you here, dude, I watched Picard this morning.
Bro, wasn't that a great episode? Like,
it was
the only thing.
One criticism.
Yeah.
I love Q, but whenever he enters into the storyline, it's hard for me to track because the things are told out of place. But knowing that he's a part of the story, I'm okay with it. I love just about everything with this episode. I love the uniforms. I love that ship.
The Stargazer.
The fact that Rios is a captain again. The fact that she's back in Starfleet again. And hi, Suri.
Yeah.
Hi, Suri.
Hi, Suri.
The Borg thing, whatever the hell's going on with that
sign me up. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I don't even. The special effects on it, dude. They don't hold back on these new Trek shows. So I was noticing that.
Well, they had the new sets too, like actual sets. That was the difference between last season, because last season they were really, really limited on what they can shoot in terms of their budget. So it was like everything was green screened or something like that. So it was like,
so
much better upgrade.
Trek is not doing well. They're dropping boatloads. Trek is doing good, and Discovery. Somebody said Discovery was a filler episode, but you need those episodes to get to the penultimate episodes.
It gave us a little bit of context, and not only that, but it was interesting from like that Xeno communications standpoint. Yeah. Where it's kind of where they found out the pheromones were how they communicated. That kind of stuff is Star Trek, and a lot of people are like, oh no, this isn't Star Trek. No, bro.
You know what the cool thing about it was? This episode was they focused on other people that weren't.
Yes, dude. Emily Coates got so much action. This, Detmer, the pilot, dude. She got so much good work in this episode. That's what I would love to see, an episode focused on her. We've had a couple. Yeah, exactly. Her conversation at the end with oh gosh darn it,
Ensign Tal.
Yeah, Ensign Tal. Yeah, so I was like, damn, I mean, this is great. And it's good to see Tal, getting to interact with the crew,
Yeah, and I like the way she interacted with another person, interact with the person that she really wanted to sit down and talk to. And I love the fact that the girl was approachable. I mean, these people, like I said, the only weakness about Discovery to this point is they don't focus enough on those people, and it's all Burnham. And it really hurts Burnham's character. Not that she's not doing a great job, but they put all the weight on her character and her speeches, and she's always got to give some big speech at the end, and she didn't have to do that this time. So Saru got some, got in there. I thought was perfectly done, and finding those bones. I mean, it was an exploration episode, and when it ended, I'm like, damn it! The only thing that they need to do with Paramount Plus, you got to have the sneak preview scene right after the show. When I'm running the end credits for the next show, you got it. I'm going to write to them, put that on there. So keep me going. I shouldn't have to search YouTube to find out what's going on for episode 12. You should be giving that to me. You have it ready. So it was a good week to be a Star Trek fan and a wrestling fan.
Oh, yeah.
Because thank God Sinclair Broadcasting no longer owns Ring of Honor. Holy cow, that was a bad sale. And I understand why the original owner of Ring of Honor did that. And when Ring of Honor was sold to Sinclair, I thought that Hold on. Let me answer this real quick. William Powell, I stand by my statement. Best Trek since First Contact for me. Yeah, it had a lot of elements that a lot of people might like.
Absolutely. I've heard people who hate New Trek coming to
Robert
me and
Meyer
be like,
Burnett.
"No, this was good. This was good."
Robert
Meyer Burnett said it was good.
No, he hates New Trek.
Oh,
no, he's not. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if he says it's
odds.
good, then I'll think something's happening.
Yeah, I think he would have been. Yeah, me and him are both underage actors. We agree on a lot, but I completely respect his opinion. But when it comes to New Trek, we're talking different languages. I just can't hear him sometimes because I think he wants to take aim at and he's old Trek fan for me. You know, I'll use the term old Trek fan. Old Trek fan.
No, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, old Trek fan is why we didn't have New Trek, and I love New Trek. We got New Trek coming up with Strange New Worlds, and if Strange New Worlds is anything like this last episode of Picard, man, I mean, this is gonna be mind blowing. We're gonna have to do a stream after midnight, you know, because I'm not gonna be able to wait. Not gonna be able to wait to be able to jump on there. So I was happy with Trek. I was happy with the whole wrestling thing, the way it's coming down. A couple of pay-per-views coming up. I want more people to watch New Japan. We're gonna have to do when we do our wrestling stream. I'm trying to get us a spot. We're gonna have to get some hardcore people that are not just into the major feds. I'm talking about like people that are into the MLW, the AAA, Lucha Libre, everything. I mean, because I'm gonna go full throttle, and it's gonna be hard to shut me up when it comes to old school wrestling. But you have not seen the Batman yet.
Right? No, I have not.
Okay. So
hopefully once we get settled into our new place, I'll check it out in a week or so.
Cool. Like I said, I think I put it up there with the best movie I've seen overall since Blade Runner 2049, and it had a lot of aspects in it that made me love. Dude, cinematography is important to me. Cinematography and sound. And the sound in the Batman is not just a score. It's the level that the score is introduced to you in. So when Batman's beating the hell out of these fools, the music is ramping up. The intensity is ramping up. You feel like whatever stress you had, whatever coworker you wanted to beat the hell out of, Batman is beating the hell out of that coworker for you. And you're like,
oh, nice.
And I wanted more. I call it was a symphony of violence. All right. It was
when he says I am vengeance, he really means it.
He means it, and he beats it.
He means it, and it's amazing the callbacks in the movie too. Like stuff from the beginning plays really well into the end of the movie. It's just, I mean, like I said, the first 15 minutes, I've never felt more like I was watching a comic book come to life in the way I did in those first 15 minutes. Like it was truly magical to see. Like again, and it's not really a spoiler. Like there's narration across the movie because it's like a detective film. The opening 15 minutes is like some narration from Batman, and I felt like, oh my god, this is just like a comic book, and it was crazy.
Yeah, it especially like that quote where he's like I keep repeating that quote where he says, I can't be everywhere, but to them, I am everywhere. I mean, I can be anywhere. And then he comes out of the
shadows. Yeah, he said something about like, they think I live in the shadows, but I am the shadow.
I am the shadows. Yeah, I mean, and stuff like that. And like I said, Robert Pattinson he didn't play the best Batman for me, but he fits into this perfect Batman movie. He does his part. Circus does his part. I didn't think there was any overwhelming parts that jumped out of the screen for me, and I thought that was a good thing because it was like a tapestry of things that just rolled. Everything rolled. And if you take any one element out, then it kind of hurts the movie. If you take the cinematography from this movie, the city doesn't breathe as much as it does. If you take the sound score, the fight scenes don't have the intensity. It all works in unison, and that's where Matt Reeves has gotten better. And he's, like I said, he's failed me in certain movies. I won't name the movies, but there are Matt Reeves movies that I'm like, why am I here? And
that's surprising because for me, I don't think he's made a bad movie yet.
Well, I've already mentioned one on several occasions, including last night. I still want my money back for a Cloverfield, a monster movie.
That's insane because people love Cloverfield, man.
I'm a monster movie guy. Like I said last night, listen, if you promise me violence and death, give me my violence and my death.
There
Give
was
me
a
my
lady that
defense.
exploded.
There was
Remember the
one
lady
person that
exploded?
exploded. I needed multiple people exploding. All right. You know, when you toss the Statue of Liberty's head down Broadway, and a year before the movie was released, in Transformers, because that's when that thing was released, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this movie, people are going to get stepped on, eyeballs are going to be shooting out of their head, I'm going to be seeing piles of blood where there was a person, and I'm like, I can't wait. I get in there, I got shaky cam, and there's old people throwing up in front of me, which is gross. I got the little crab things, which should have been all over the movie, which made the girl explode. They had a couple scenes in there. I get a glimpse of the monster every now and then as they're running through the sewer. I got people doing stupid stuff that make me. I know I have to suspend belief, but I'm sorry, you can't be that dumb. I mean, now I'm just rooting for you to die. And like I said,
It's a monster movie. It plays with those tropes, but again, there's never been a monster movie done in a found footage camera style, though. It's what made it so unique.
And yeah, and maybe we need to, yeah. But yeah, like I said, if you promise me death and destruction, give me my death and destruction. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
But okay, let me see. My only this is one of the guys we actually sent to see Dark Knight. Oh, I'm sorry. This is one of the dudes we actually sent to see the Batman. I don't know why I got the Dark Knight in my brain. My only complaint was that I missed a bit of dialogue because my theater was hella noisy. That theater kind of sucks for crowd control. I saw it at a press screening, so the people
that wasn't an issue. Yeah, I mean, I saw like at the fan event screening, there's people like walking around, walking in late. It's just like, oh god, I think there's like some camera flashes too. I'm just like, damn it,
Yeah.
To get back to the Ring of Honor stuff just for a second, though,
go ahead.
The Monkey Jeebus does post something about Cody. Have you seen the theory that Cody leaving is all a work because he's going to head up Ring of Honor?
I actually think it's true. This makes so much more sense now. I think it's true.
But why? Why? Like what, for like an invasion style storyline, like Cody versus Tony Khan?
It could be that way, but he has a lot of roots in Ring of Honor in New Japan. I mean, like I said, that makes more sense. And if you're going to buy something and give it immediate value, you give it the value, of somebody that's helped start the promotion that he was in and was a big part of the promotion,
Yeah, well, the other value, though, is Ring of Honor plays in AEW's history because they own the streaming and distribution rights to the All In pay-per-view. And that was the birth of AEW, so...
And that's good. And plus, like I said, it's hilarious because where Ring of Honor bottomed out is in large part due to AEW's formation. If you look at what happened, they lost everybody to AEW, and New Japan had to get over some scars too because they lost Kenny Omega. They lost Kenny Omega at the height of Kenny Omega's run. And to lose him like that, they lost the Young Bucks. They lost all those guys because when they were working with Ring of Honor, they could work with New Japan. You had the War of the Worlds pay-per-views, which were awesome. And then when AEW first started up, it was an exclusive type thing. It's opened up now, the Forbidden Door, but it was kind of tough for Ring of Honor, and that's where Ring of Honor started its decline, in my opinion, is when they lost all those people at once to AEW. Now, if there's anything that can save Ring of Honor, it's AEW because you know what? Not everybody can be on TV screens. Not everybody can be on a 2-hour show or 1-hour show. So now you can give some of these, guys a chance to breathe. Some of the guys that are in the mid card and AEW can come over and get some wrestling time and time on the air on a Ring of Honor show. You can have title. There's a lot of potential there. There's more potential there than it was when WWF had that bogus sell of WCW. So I am on board with this. Let's get some of these comments here because I'm horrible. But sorry guys, I'm still getting used to this stuff scrolling by me. So if I'm seeing them all, but if I'm not responding, let's see. I answered that one. Anthony Beltre's in there. Hi, Anthony. Monkey Jeebus. Point Extra Lounge. That's us. There was somebody had said something. Let's see. Somebody asked a question. I grew up in Michael Keaton being my Batman. I'm gonna have to get somebody in here that just someone
that you need like a Caden. You need a Caden.
Yeah, I should have sent him a link. I should have sent him a link. I'm getting better.
Okay, you have a question from Anthony Beltry who asks, William, what do you think is going to happen on Disney Investor Day on March 9th? It's 5 days from now. They do have a big Investor Day coming up. There's rumored to be some announcements potentially, like more streaming content announced, and potentially some trailers for stuff like Thor and some of the streaming shows. Maybe Obi-Wan trailer.
I think that would happen. I that would be the main thing I'm looking for. Right now, they pretty much put everything in motion that we've been expecting. I mean, the only thing now,
except for Thor.
Yeah, and to see where we're at is like, trailers.
I know you're very excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. I know that's your most anticipated.
None the least. I think the Thor franchise is the worst that the MCU has. And I like some of the people who've made. I mean,
but Thor Ragnarok, man, that revitalized it. It saved the franchise. It saved it. Okay, objectively, it saved it.
They saved the franchise by putting so many people besides Thor in it, because they've developed.
It reinvigorated the passion for the character. Then he became one of the best MCU characters in the eyes of a lot of people.
Okay.
I mean, that's the truth.
I hear a lot of people say the same thing. I think I like Branagh. I mean, I've loved Branagh since I was a kid as far as his filmmaking, and I like Taika Waititi. I think Taika Waititi is one of the most creative people behind the camera right now. I mean, go see Jojo Rabbit if you need to,
William, this movie is gonna have 2 magical goats, and they ride a boat in space. What is there not to love?
In credits, I guess I have no expectations.
It has Gore the God Butcher, man, Christian Bale.
The problem I have with a lot of MCU movies, though, is there's just so much going on in any particular one, and that's what made me love a movie like The Batman. There's a lot going on, but it's not distraction type stuff. I find in some of the MCU movies, they identify that they have a weak spot, and they hide that weak spot by doing a lot of this other stuff that wouldn't be in the movie if this character were strong. That's me. And not just Thor. They do it a lot in some other movies, to where if they can't build a story, because I think they've done an excellent job with the Avengers in Thor.
Yeah.
Thor.
Well, if it makes you feel better, this Thor movie does not have any other characters outside of Thor's ancillary characters. There's no other Avenger. It's just Thor, Jane Foster Thor, Valkyrie, Korg. There you go. So at least it's just Thor characters this time. There's no like Hulk or Iron Man or something. Wait. There's the Guardians of the Galaxy. There's the Guardians of the Galaxy. Wait, I forgot about that. But I don't think they got that big a role in the movie.
Yeah. So like I said, with Marvel, like I said, I call it the Clutterverse. Even though I like some of the movies, but there's just so much going on sometimes. It's like hurts your head. Endgame, I didn't find Endgame to be an enjoyable movie until the end scenes. I just thought in Infinity War, there was just so much going on, and with characters I liked, but they were just there. Bam, Black Panther, there, gone. I just didn't feel that type of movie for me. So like I said, that's part of Marvel's storytelling that makes half of their movies for me just, I've been there, done that. And I just mark it off the box, but it's not something I do again. I don't rewatch MCU movies that much. I mean, most MCU movies I've seen them all, obviously. There's very few that I would watch again. I'll watch Avengers 2012 again, because I think that's one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. I will watch when No Way Home gets on streaming. I'll watch that because there's a couple of scenes in there that I just absolutely love. Captain America, all 3 Captain Americas I liked. But the majority of Avengers movies after the first one, I won't watch that again. Some of the Ant-Man movies, nah. I mean, there's just a couple of different things. I'm just not gonna, their storytelling is, and that goes down into the comics as well. The way DC storytelling is just my preference. So these aren't bad movies. They're just not my preference. I'll put it that way.
No, I get you. I mean, that's why I feel like it's good. That's why I appreciate stuff like the Batman, because it's a very different type of movie. Like comparing it to like in terms of like No Way Home, for example, the Batman is a much better made technical film, right? But the Batman, I mean, No Way Home is still like an enjoyable movie. Like it's still a great movie. It's just you're comparing like apples to oranges in terms of
you're just different language. Let's see. When William says violent teasers, yeah. All right, I'm expecting genocide. All right, if you tell me you're making a slasher film, give me a slasher film. I don't want human interest. All right, I don't care what brought you to Camp Crystal Lake. All I care is how you die there. That's it. All right. When you advertise death and dismemberment, Give me my death and dismemberment. That's what I paid for. Godzilla, you promised me a big giant lizard that steps on a city and fights other monsters.
Yeah, and they got boring family drama for 2 hours.
I mean, all the humans are for in a monster movies is to die. That's it. Human beings
that is why Godzilla versus Kong is one of the better movies in the MonsterVerse, because it literally gave us exactly what we wanted. Were there humans? Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it was the majority of the movie. It knew what it needed to be. I also think that's why Kong Skull Island is one of the better MonsterVerse movies, because that one prioritizes the monsters, but the actual human storyline is actually compelling and interesting. It's one of the rare few times both work.
Okay, let's see. Kenny hasn't been great like he was in New Japan because he doesn't have the talent. There's another reason why Kenny Omega hasn't been great since he's been in New Japan. He's extended himself too much. He wrestled too much within a short amount of time. He literally was on an AEW pay-per-view, an Impact pay-per-view, an Impact show back at AEW when he had both titles, wrestling in AAA because he was a AAA champion, and that's travel. He traveled to Mexico to be in that match, and he's traveling to wherever the Impact zone was, and then he's traveling to wherever AEW. And he's not just wrestling one-star match. This cat is wrestling 5-star matches every time he gets in the ring, and that takes a toll. And that's why he's out now, because he bore himself down to where he physically couldn't perform like he was before. So I think with a little bit of rest, I think Kenny Omega will be back on top again. He's only 37, 38 years old. Most wrestlers who take care of their bodies like he has, that's not even a prime for them, you know. So I think we'll see some better Omega here pretty soon. All right, let's see. Any more comments that the Batman? All right, so the Batman didn't need to rely on nostalgia or cameos to be good. It was a huge breath of fresh air. Yes, it was. I will agree with that. I just got to make sure I don't hit on any spoilers, because there's some spoiler stuff in here in that chat. Let's see. Captain America. Yes. Captain America: First Avengers is my favorite of those movies, and it's right behind the 2012 Avengers movie. So let's see. All right. I think I got all the main ones. If I didn't, let's see. People were bringing their 4 to 5 years old to this is my theater. Listen, and then I'm assuming he's
people brought like 7, 8-year-old kids to my screening too. So
it depends on how you're raising. Like, I was raised on these movies. I
don't think people know. I think they just assume it's Batman. They take their kids to it. I don't think they really assume.
Now, if you're like my dad raised us and told us basically drew the lines between violence and stuff, what we were allowed to take in as reality and what was real and what was not real and acceptable. If you're raising your kids to where they're in that environment and they can take it into context, then every parent's different. Every parent's every kid's gonna be different, and their parents gonna know their kid better than we are. However, that being said, when you have a guy with two Kevlar gauntlets on his hands beating the hell out of somebody and they're crushing their skull, and you have dismemberments and you have drug use and you have some stuff, I could see where the rating was. I wouldn't have been surprised if this movie had gotten an R rating. I mean, if they had shown the blood that should have resulted from him beating those fools, you would have had an R rating. So
yeah, but the other thing that made this a breath of fresh air in terms of being an adaptation of the character was that this was a Batman that did not kill, which I found to be fascinating in terms of like what they wanted to construct for this version of the character. And that cannot be argued against, because that is what Matt Reeves said. His Batman did not kill. All right,
Matt Reeves, and Matt Reeves, if you're watching the stream, which you're not, listen, dude, several fools got their heads beat, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, people got beaten up, but they didn't die.
They ain't getting up.
Distinction.
They are not getting up and going by. Wow, damn, I'm bad. I'm sad I ran into the Batman. Boy, let me wipe this off and get back. No, you're going to.
Well, again, though, like if the director himself is saying no, like no, my Batman does not kill, and he does a lot of things that could have
resulted in death. Though, come on, the Penguin, who, dude, you have on Rainbow Avenue. If you get your car flipped over like that, there's a good chance your ass is dying. Yeah, he didn't. I get what you're saying, but come on. There was some ass whipping in there that would result in some life altering.
I know.
And hey, I loved it. And if those fools didn't get up, hey, you know what, you played the game and you got knighted. So I enjoyed it, but like I said, the Batman, in real life though, these people are dead, are they're in wheelchairs, and the Penguin is not getting out. He's just not. This is not happening. That car is crushing on top of him. It's over with. Although that was one of the best scenes of the movie. That's not the best Batman scene of the movie. So, like I said, I really, he didn't kill. Technically, nobody died, but holy cow! In real life, they're all dead. All right, there's skull fractures happening, there's brain bleeds happening, there's broken backs.
And no, he did not straight up hang a dude. No. I don't know where y'all getting this either. He did not hang a dude and kill a dude hanging by his neck. No.
No. He did not. Like I said, nobody officially died in this movie. Technically, though, in reality, there's about 7 or 8 people I counted that they're just not.
Most people are probably going to be hospitalized, but no one's actually going to die.
Dude, if you could be awesome, critical condition and death, it's like 5-minute difference sometimes. You flatline when your brain stops working because Batman put his bat fist into it. You might not have died during that movie, but like I said, I wouldn't have changed the thing for that movie. I wouldn't have changed any of the tone. If you want a different Batman, all I have to say for people is stay tuned. I think you're going to get over the next 5 years. I actually am going to predict that everybody is going to get the Batman they want over a 5-year course. To be honest with you. I think they're starting to understand that we can make things and not make them in lieu of, but make them alongside of. Like I was talking about with Enoch, let's get greedy. This movie is not going to please every Batman fan. It's going to piss off a good percentage of them. But guess what? Those people you pissed off, their money's green too. So he's been around 80 years. There's so many different ways to approach this character. And if people will appreciate the different interpretations of it, then I think the studios should cater to just about everybody. Get greedy. Sometimes greed is good. So on that note, I think we're done, man. I think we've covered it. Is there anything I missed? We got Uncle Lloyd in. We talked Batman. We talked both Star Treks. We talked Ring of Honor. I mean, we talked all the stuff that.
I think we pretty much covered everything.
Jumping around on my gives it. And I forgot to invite Austin. Well, then again, he would have just now been getting here. So, yeah, Austin Standard Time. But that's about it, man. I'll look through some of these comments and I'll figure out ways to answer them. I know there's a way to answer comments that are in the chat or something like afterwards or something like that. I got to figure that out because I can't answer everybody's stuff because we only got an hour and a half. But we're working on some shows. We're working on a wrestling show, and I am working on a show called Sci-Fi Center Presents for this very network that will showcase. We'll be breaking down miniseries. We'll be breaking down the importance of the very first one me and Dawson Regis are going to do. If you know Dawson from the Four Nerds, we're going to be breaking down the importance and the influence of The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller's classic. We're going to be doing some modern stories like Wonder Woman, Dead Earth. And there's just going to be a lot of different things coming up. I'm going to have probably total of 3 shows on this network. And then there's some stuff in it that I wanted to show you guys. And let's see, brand. Here we go. If you are out in Vegas and you get a chance to come out here, like we do weird stuff like this. This is what the Sci-Fi Center does. And here's one of the things that we're doing tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is the 100th anniversary, or technically today is the 100th anniversary of Nosferatu, March 5th, 1922. So tomorrow night we're going to be doing a special presentation alongside a talented pianist, and we're going to be showing a screening, and we're going to be doing the piano right there with it. So I'm going to see if this video works so you guys can see the trailer that we were working on. All right, so that's going on tomorrow, and that's happening at a place called Fort Bedlam.
Oh, nice.
It's a coffee shop that just opened up right down the street. I actually have a drink named. I'm a coffee fanatic. I actually have a drink named after me. If you're ever in Vegas, you can actually go down and you can order the William, and you will get a very highly caffeinated drink. It's got too much sugar in it. It's got too much caffeine in it, but in moderation, if you do it every now and then, you will you'll be okay. And that's in Fort Bedlam. Like
I remember Nosferatu from SpongeBob.
Yeah, and it has an influence on. It has influence on just about everywhere. I mean, Under Pressure, the video, he's in there. It's sad because just after it got made, Bram Stoker's estate sued him, so it really didn't get out into the general public, and it was lost for many years. But it is the very first Batman. Look at that! It is the very first vampire movie ever made. One of the earliest movies, period, ever made, 1922. One of the first motion pictures, and its influence is everywhere. I mean, Salem's Lot. I mean, they remade it with Klaus Kinski. If you've ever played the White Wolf games of the Masquerade, the Nosferatu, it's in there. So this movie has been important, and being a horror fan, I'm happy to be able to present it the way that it was presented 100 years ago. So,
yeah. Also, Max Schreck, the actor who played Nosferatu, I believe, he was the inspiration for the name behind the character in Batman Returns. Max Schreck.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's so much trivia. We're gonna have a list of trivia tomorrow when we show this. We're gonna go over a lot of trivia, and like I said, as is when it comes to any film, there's so much appreciated stuff that people don't. Just like with Troma, there are so many connecting lines to everything that people don't appreciate them, and I think once they see those lines, they change their minds. I mean, you change your mind about some of the stuff that you may not have been into. So with Troma, James Gunn. If you loved Suicide Squad, if you loved Peacemaker, give Troma a shot. Why not? That's where he came from. Romeo and Juliet, start there. That's James Gunn's. I think that's his first film, period. So you get to see that line that brings you all the way up to some of the stuff you like. So, all right, RJ, thanks for not stiffing me this week. Just kidding. I'm glad you're better.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I could come on.
I'm glad you're better because I was worried. I'm like, oh man, where is he at? And then I saw, I'm glad it wasn't what we all thought it could have been. So I'm glad you're back. And next week should be an even stranger Friday because we got more wrestling. We'll have more Star Trek. We'll have, who knows, we'll have the final first weekend numbers of the Batman, and what it's going to mean as far as that goes. And then there's more geek stuff on top of geek stuff. And I'll have probably a couple more shows. So not along with Sci-Fi Center Live, you'll have the Sci-Fi Center Presents, and you'll have As Seen on TV. So keep an eye out for those. Make sure you subscribe and like to not just my show, Jiving with Jack. Austin Lean has the best people he's ever met. And anybody else who pumps into this network. We're just a bunch of geeks bouncing ideas and conversations off each other. So there's no bad show on this network. It's just different times of day. So have fun with everything that we're producing. And I will see you guys for sure next Friday.